Oh, hi everybody. Just mixing up some of that rusty roof color. I'm glad you're coming back. Glad to see you all there, if I could see you there. Today we're going to be working back on the barn. I've got a little, I'm trying to mix up a little bit of rust color. Now basically what you do when you mix up a color, or what I do, is I imagine that color in my head. And I try to imagine, does it have a dark base? Does it have a light base? You know, what's its life? Rust has some brown in it. It's got some red in it. So you have options. It also may have a little black in it. But what we're going to do here, try to figure it out. And I hope we figure it out together. So come on in, grab you up something to paint on, some paint sticks, and join in with me. We'll have some fun together. I'm going to start out with this new color and see if it's what I want. Well, that's a little bit better. Obviously it's not the greatest, but it's better than what I had. We're just going to spread it around some. I might end up toning it down just a little bit. And what I'm doing, I'm using a brown to tone it down. And then what we'll do, after we get it kind of shaded in here, we'll bring it together to blend it all together. Now I'm putting a lot of rust at the bottom because that's where the rain settles, the ice settles. I'm trying to develop this color so it's not overpoweringly red, and it doesn't overpower the picture, because that could be a problem here if we overpower the picture with this red. We're going to continue that. Right along the top. Been a day or two since I've filmed the last one, so I'm not sure when it's going to be released. This is actually my second video from this channel. I hope you're enjoying it and you stay with me. Uh-oh, too much red. It just dove into the red. So we'll just get rid of that. Maybe let it set up a little bit. Then we can put some more brown in it. Trying to straighten this roof line out. It's not doing so good. Now, for the blending, well, I still got to have some brown on this, though. This is just too much. If you find out you don't like the color, just keep working with it until you get it where you want it. I'm not going to worry about if I go over top, because we've got a lot of tree work to do yet. I'm just kind of filling it in. Now there's a couple of different ways that I could blend this all together. What I plan on doing is using a light gray. Let's see if I can find a light gray. Here we go. I don't think this has ever been opened. What do you know? Where I get my art supplies, mostly Hobby Lobby, which we have a brand new one here in town. And sometimes it's just Walmart. I bought some, actually went to the arts department, and I started out buying the real thing, and I get my real brushes there. But you can go over in the regular crafting area, and you'll see these little bottles, 49 cents each. It's still acrylic, it's the same thing. The difference is the thickness. If you like the thick, heavy body, I can't get this open, then you might want to go with regular artist color. Me, I kind of blend it all together. I like a heavy body because I'm the only person we ever see when I use watercolors, I make them heavy. But I'm going to take some of this light gray. I'm going to try to do some blending. Try to get that metal look back out. That might be too light a gray, but it's all right to start blending with that. All right, now it looks kind of goofy with this light gray. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring back our neutral gray, tone that down a little bit. I'm wearing my paint. See, I'm wearing my paint. And the blend together should bring it with the light and the red behind it. That should blend it all real nicely. Get a little bit of water on here. It seems to be drying faster than I can put it on. It is very warm in this house today. Been in town all day and we left the heater running. We use a pellet stove and it got warm. This roof line is giving me fits. It doesn't want to come out the way I want it. Trying to blend this all 100% back in is a trick. To get that rust. Gotta have that rust. I've never seen a barn without a rusty roof, so an old barn. We're getting to the point where it's starting to blend together. I do things this simple way. It's the reason why it's called JASBO'S Simple Art. I don't like the little color wheel and all those details that people do. I'm not much for that. I would rather just experiment until I get it where I want it. And then I know, then I can actually be happy with my work. When you have, go to the Hobby Lobby or somewhere like that and you start looking at art supplies, and especially in paint, they have so many colors. It's like somebody's done the work for me. So I try to stay with the actual true colors and not rely on somebody else's imagination, you might say. I like my own. Not everybody likes everybody's art, and that's fine, because your art is your own. It's your own piece. Ooh. Where'd I get that color from? I wanted a little bit more rust, and I dove into it a little heavy. Probably hear my cat, one of my cats in the background. And that's fine. Don't know what she wants. She goes around all day yelling. Give her food, she quits yelling for a while. She starts yelling again. You give her water, she quits yelling. Or she starts yelling again after a while. And she's not an attention cat. So I'm not sure what her little problem is. Her sister's usually in here with her, and I think that's part of her problem. She doesn't have her sister. Her sister's not in here today. Too much rust on that end. What did I? Wrong gray. Move that brown in there. Tone that down. A lot of this will be okay, and you'll see why in a little bit, because I'm going to change things up a little bit on this painting. And you'll see that in action as I do it. You might even say, I wonder why you did that. Yeah, that's fine. We all have our techniques. a little wonders works here that we get into. Putting a little bit of that real light gray in there. It kind of gives that some texture and some body, especially on those lines. I don't like this end back here. That's okay. We'll get it together. I'm going to take some dark gray, and I want to define my lines. That's the regular gray. Oop, do I have any dark gray? What the heck is this? Mars Black. No, don't want that. I'm knocking things everywhere over here. Is this the dark gray I wanted? No, I don't think it is. Do I have another dark gray? No, I don't. I have to mix it. I don't want to mix it. So I'll just keep on going with my natural gray. What I want to do, I just want to define a line between the boards, between the tin. And you can see it starting to develop a little bit. I'm going to take this rusty brown, and I want to steadily, that wasn't steady. I want to fix my bottom here. Then I'm going to take a little bit of that brown, or that black, which I don't, I've got black on here, but it's all just dried up. So what I'm going to do, just get me a little dot. Oops, that's too much of a dot. I don't think there's anything in my vocabulary called little. But I'm just going to run this right underneath this eave. Trying to steady it with my hand the best I can. There's tricks here I could do. I could use the palette knife so I don't go above it. Now, another thing I want to do is I don't want this tin to have perfect edges. So where these joints are right here, every once in a while I'm going to bring up the thing. But what I'm trying to do is separate it, make it look a little old, you might say. And there might be like a hole or a gap in the roof. You know, something just to make it look more rustic. Okay, now while that's sitting up and drying before I decide to work on it anymore, because I'm going to add a little sprinkle of kind of a reddish mix just to make the rust stand out a little bit more. But for right now, what I'm going to do is we're going to focus on the bottom of the barn floor here. For one thing, I don't like it just standing out there. Of course, we have to bring in a wall, and that means I got to mix up my colors again. But now remember, this time it's in the bright sun. So bright sun means easier. I'm gonna mix some of this dark gray, or this neutral gray, start bringing it down. This next one, I'm going to add just a touch of black to the edges of it, because what I want to do is blend it, because the next board I have a division. I'm going to take my neutral gray for the next one, and I'll come back and fix that back up. I basically just want a line guide. Now here I'm putting it on a little thicker, a little heavier, because I'll probably add in some shadowing and some shading. I think I'm going to go one more board, which I need some more of my neutral gray. I have a cat that is playing over here. I have a couch back here, and it's playing on the couch, making noise. Probably makes more noise than I do as I'm doing this. I'm going to come back after that little shadowing to another board. Now, since this is the front, I also want to bring in a little lighter color. So I'm using my light gray. I'm not sure what the color this is. It's called Gray Sky, okay? It's one of those fancy colors that I usually don't buy, but I wanted a light gray for this project. So that's what I went and got, and thought that looked about right compared to the other ones I've seen. I missed. One reason why I wanted to leave that other coat on heavy, because I want to blend this in as I go. Now also, if you remember right, we had the colored wood at the top, which is up here. It's not necessarily down here. It can be down there, but I don't think it's necessary. But I do think it's necessary that I lighten this up, because again, that's on their front. Switch gears with a different brush. This in here. Oops, too much. Where's that lighter gray? Gonna go here with the lighter gray. Even the roof is in the sun, so we gotta remember that. For the upper part. Now up here is where you're going to see some of that brown come in, because that is, there's supposed to be an overhang there, if you remember correctly. Hopefully you can see the detail of where it's coming together a little bit. I do have a separation of wood here that I'm not showing, that I should show. I'm going to put a very fine line there. I'm going to get a fine tip, add a little measure to it, you might say. Fine tips are difficult to use. I want to show where those boards come together. Put me a little accents here and there, little edges. Now, since I'm at this point, this is shadowed and I forgot to keep it shadowed. So I'm going to fill that in right now. Okay. We have one of the walls built there. Now the other walls we're going to have to be a little careful with. And what I mean by careful and why is because when we add that in, you got to think about distance. It's a ways from us. When it's a ways from us, boards don't look the same. They get smaller. Everything does. So what we're going to do here, we're going to use a smaller brush. If I can find a smaller brush that I like. I have a brand new brush I just bought today. Ooh, that's not quite small enough. Okay, not that brush. Trying to find the right size brush can be a difficult thing, especially when you have as many options as I have too many options, to tell you the truth. But what I want to do is, I'm comparing it with this side. What I want to do is bring it in here, and we can straighten out this line as we go, because that line is horrible. Might even do a different technique here, which I think I'm going to do. I think I'm going to use a broader brush, and I'm going to put the all the background on it first, and then I'm going to come and define it. That way I can get this on heavier. Now also, as we go back, you gotta think you're getting away from the sun. So we're gonna start darkening it. That's when you have to be careful, because somewhere in here there's a line that I really shouldn't be crossing. And what that line is your bottom of your wall line. It's not going to be the same length as your other one. Okay, we're going to blend this in. Now this is not going to be in the light. So much. But I am going to put a few boards on the outside. So I want to define the dark on the inside. Okay. Now we'll come in and start defining the boards that we want, where we want them, on the outside. These will be the boards that's on the outside of the wall. Now, what's important here is getting that 3D. Well, these will be brighter boards because they are on the outside toward the sun. Okay, and let's bring down some boards here. The top. Now this, I'm going to go down to the smaller brush. If I can decide which one was the smaller brush. What was it? This one. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to define those boards. I'm just going to define it with a little bit of the black magic. That one might be a little bit too narrow. I'm going to bring it over. Which is all right. Don't have a defining line. That might be a problem. This one ran crooked. That's right. Boards are crooked sometimes. Yeah, that's fine. Get a little bit of this black action going here. More definition in the boards. First, I'm going to get this up here. Now I'm going to grab up my little brush, if I can find it. There it is. I'm going to start adding those details back in that we lost, drawing this out. This does not have to be perfect. It's an old barn. Well, that didn't go anywhere. And it sometimes get kind of carried away with it, and you kind of forget exactly your aim. Sometimes when I do this paintings, I get lost in thought, and I'm just putting things down and not really knowing what I'm doing. I'll come back later and go, why the heck did I do that? Because your mind can wonder why you're doing this. Kat's down here talking to me. She's trying to figure out who I'm talking to. Having the black come down, sign this barn pure black. As I define the wood. And you can see the shadow I'm doing. There's going to be a little light coming through, not a whole lot. I still don't have this side as light as that side, but I've got this side too light. So I may want to tone that down just a little bit. Right now it looks kind of funny with that in there. I don't like that myself. So I may have to just blend that out. Oops. That's some white on there I didn't know about. That's all right. It's showing some shadows and some dimension. A lot of people don't understand. Part of shadowing and shading is actually the water. Okay, now I'm not going to do too much more on that part. I want it to set up and have time to dry, and I can come back in and blend it on there later. I want to change this, get this a little darker, put some more accent in there, the black lines, what have you. I want to do the same thing up here, but we got the basic down of what we're after. So now what I want to do, I want to fill in something here at the bottom. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some of this dirt color. It's warm brown. Looks like a warm dirt to me. But oops. I just bought these today, so they're not open. I'm getting black all over me from somewhere. Okay. Now I may darken this, might lighten it, I'm not sure. I haven't used this, it's one of those formulated colors. I call it formulated anyway. I don't like to use those much, I like to do my own colors. But to speed up the process, I thought, well, we'll go ahead and use them this time. I want to show that there's a floor in this barn. what you want to do is, I'm trying to bring this outside a little bit. I'm going to run it off in different directions. I'm also not sure if I want to lighten that with gray, what I want to do to it yet. Okay, that's enough to start with. I can come back and mess with that later. But what I want to do is bring the foreground. And I've been thinking about how I'm going to do this. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a basic down and then we'll draw from there. And the basic for this, boy, I need a bigger palette. The basic for this, it's going to be greens, I guess, because it's going to be kind of bushy. I don't know, it's fall. Maybe it should just be a little bit, you know, like, how would you say it? Well, weeds. Dried weeds. So what I've got here, I've got some yellow ochre, I think it's called. I don't know how to pronounce that. That's how I pronounce it, ochre. What I want to do here is just dabble some down here at the bottom. That's the reason why I'm not too worried about some of these boards, because as you build in your other colors here, you'll find yourself losing a lot of that board. And that's the idea. I don't want to lose that board. Okay, now I've got a basic color there. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to come in with a fine brush. I think I'm going to try a different fine brush than that one. Has a little bit of body to it. And I'm going to start developing weeds. You always want to brush upwards, because that way it leaves the end pointy. And like weeds. You just want to kind of garble them on here. It just, any old direction, it don't matter. These weeds will come alive when I get done with it. You'll see what I mean by come alive here in a little bit. This is just the basic steps. Now, there's still going to be some green left on this because, you know, it's just into fall. Fall usually has a little green. So I'm going to try to add a little bit of this. What is it called? Foliage. How about that? Okay. What do I do with that brush? There it is. I'm going to try to put some of this foliage in here with it. This green color. Because you're still going to have a lot of green mixed in the fall. When it comes to weeds and what have you, they're not dead yet, but they're dying. I'd come in here and mix these up. Give it a little detail that way. I don't want white's completely dried up back there. Also, a thing that we might want to do is I might want to hit a little white in there. A little white, a little brighter color, maybe a yellow. And the reason for that is, let's go with yellow, is we need to show a little sunshine, something there. So I like to switch brushes and get a very, very even fine tip brush. And I don't put them on there extreme. If I can even get it to go on. Some yellows are very shadowy and I got a feeling I got one. Yep, there we go. You don't want too much of this. It does give you some dimension, some contrast. You gotta think the frame will come up here. So you want to be careful there how you put it. We also got to continue it along the bottom and up in here, remembering dimension size. Yellow ochre. I need more yellow ochre. Where is it at? Got the yellow. This must be it here. Yep. I don't know why, but I like to use a lot of this yellow ochre. Well, there's a lonely cry. Yeah? Well, I can't always be there petting you, kitty. She thinks I can. She thinks that's my job. Pay attention to the kitty. But I got news for her. I have other things to do. Yeah? She's arguing with me. I didn't do my dabbing. That's what I'm missing. Yeah, well, we'll just fill it in as we go. We'll just do this. And I hope if you're doing this along with me, I hope you're enjoying it like I am. going to start throwing some green in there. That's what happens when you go backwards. I had the brush way advanced in my hand where I thought so, so it hit right on there. Didn't like that. Pick it up with some yellow. Well, I'm getting clumsy with my fingers now. Now I have to clean the brush. I only have a little bit here to go. I won't keep you with me too long if you're still with me. Hopefully you are. You got to fight the urge to notice I'm right-handed. It's so easy to go this way. You have to fight the urge, and you got to go the other way sometimes. Otherwise, you look like wind-blown weeds everywhere. That's not really what we're after here. Get a little bit of that yellow blend in there. Okay, I'm going to stomp out a little bit of weeds over here. And we might just call it quits for the day before I bore you to death. Ooh, it's my brush stuck. It's also getting to the point where it starts getting tacky, and like that was a bad brush problem right there. That could cause me a lot of pain later on. Because now those weeds are too tall. To hide it, I'm having to show some different dimensions. Hopefully that did it. Not sure. Okay, where we are today, where we've done today, we try to work on this rusty roof a little bit. It's still not where I want it. getting there. I want more gray on it because that's just too much rust. Want a little bit of red in there. The rest of the barn's looking better. We still have some little accents to put in here and there, but it is looking a lot better. We need to work on a shadowing here from this overhang, which is really not big enough, and get these colors closer together in here. Then the biggest thing I want to do, start working on these trees. I've got a couple of techniques I want to try out and show you. I hope they work. One's with just an old, what they call a chip brush. It's a carpenter's brush or a painter's brush, house painter. And there's some other things I want to do. I've got a brush now that I think it's a choppy enough one I can chop the top off, make it like a stomp brush. We're going to try that. But for right now, here's our picture where we're at. I believe if the next day we're here, which will probably be tomorrow, I believe I'm going to bring this tree into these trees, because a lot of this will disappear from a tree. If I get too much ink on there, too much paint, it's going to blend in with my tree. So I don't want to do that. This is in the woods. We just want it to look like it's just showed up in the woods. And where you're walking around, and here it is. So I want to bring some tree life in it. So that's my plan. Over here, we're just going to have a tree line, I believe. I'm not sure what we're going to do over here yet. Might bring a pond in. I love to do ponds, rocks around the ponds. As you can see, another painting over here. I'm not sure if you can see that. I'm working on a pond situation there, and I'm going to be bringing that painting into this channel. We're going to work on that after I get this one done, hopefully. But I hope you are enjoying what you're seeing here, what's going on here. So I hope you come back tomorrow. We'll be back here, and we'll be back at it. Thank you for watching.